go to sleep, I go far away. If you forgot your dreams, just remember to love. It's important to remember your dreams.
I got a dream. It was all a dream.
And I woke up.
Cheer. Yo, we're back. What up, AquaStoneThrone? Like, share, and subscribe if you like all my work. Alright, guys, another short one, okay? This is going to be about the brain and activating the third eye. Alright, guys, so check it out. Just a little knowledge that I personally think that you should have. So if you're not aware, you got a couple different parts of the brain, right? You got the left hemisphere, the right hemisphere, the frontal cortex, the back part of the brain, which is the snake part of the brain. Stay away from that part. But basically we're going to talk about the third eye and what the third eye is and why it's very important to activate it. And there's a couple things that you basically need to be aware of, right? So that in this current time and in this particular world, there's literally a massive war against you reaching your spiritual divine self. And why I say that is because a lot of the food that we eat has a whole bunch of terrible toxins and terrible that you should not be ingesting, which actually really impair and shut down your third eye, right? So, there's a saying that says, I got two eyes to see and one eye to know. I think it's something like that, but that's real. So I know for a fact that I have a very active pineal gland. And one of the ways you know whether or not you've activated your pineal gland or not is you literally are on a completely different level from the rest of humanity. And in every single way you process this reality very differently. I'm not going to get too much into that, but there are very much levels of thought that you can access which are borderline supernatural. And I will say one way to see and tell if your pineal gland is active and working is whether or not it itches. Like I personally get non-stop itching right here. Another way to tell is to see now all babies and even people, there's a little soft spot at the top of the head, right? And really what's going on is that when you go to sleep at nighttime, this is only your vehicle. This beautiful body and this beautiful face that I have is just my vehicle. You know what I'm saying? This is really my avatar. And I leave this every single night and I go very far to bring back this information to y'all. And so what I mean by that is that, like I said, there's a little soft hole. And when you leave, your solar plex, right? That little light, that little spirit. They say it's like 3 or 7 ounces or some nonsense like that, right? That actually when you die, you are like 3 or 5 ounces or something lighter when it actually leaves. But it basically comes into your vessel through that little hole, and that little beautiful light that you are, because you are a divine being that never dies, it stays in the solar plexus. It's got like this little secret little spot in the middle of the body, and it's like that's what they call that internal fire, that internal flame in your inner ocean, right? So all right, basically, we're going to get into hemispheres because you want to have both hemispheres active and communicating in unison and vibing back and forth. So the negative and positive, if everything here, oh, this is another secret, everything in this reality comes in pairs. This is kind of when you get to the 11-11. I'll make another 11-11 video in the future. But everything in this reality comes in pairs. And so the point of you operating at your highest level, because they say that it's like only 10% of the mind which is being used, but when you start activating your pineal gland, that number raises rapidly. And how I personally notice is that when you really raise in vibrational frequency and you think about things, they automatically manifest. Now, this is the realest ever. Like, you know, like very spiritual people that are very, very high up in levels, they bring things in, they summon things into this reality. And this is, and so basically a little bit about the mind, right? We got the masculine mind and the feminine mind. Now, I don't like actually using the masculine and feminine because I am a man, and in my manly body, there's nothing feminine about me, but there is a negative and positive. So I like using the terms negative and positive more than masculine and feminine, because females are females and males are males. And basically that the way to tell which side you operate off of is to look into the peak hole. Or even, for example, right now I'm staring at a camera. I just started this vlog, and this is actually my third video today, and it's weird talking to a camera, you know, because when you look at somebody in the eye and you look at somebody eye to eye, what you're actually doing is you're closing a circuit. Now, why I say that is because everything is energy, right? And so when you actually look at somebody in the pupil, you're making a direct, you're closing a circuit. And so back to eyes, right? So I'm a very creative individual, and I actually have a strong left eye. And that means that, so the way the eyes are linked up to the mind is that my left eye is in direct communication and hardwired directly to my right brain, right? That's the more chaotic side, it's the more colorful side, it's the more creative side, right? So when you know these things about yourself, you could easily figure out what you want to do in this life. So for example, if you're more creative, you might be a musician, you might be a basketball player, you might be a painter, you might be an architect, things like that. Things that allow a little bit more creativity from the non-matter, right? I say non-matter, right, is because, like, you know, they say always, like, write something down. The real reason why you should be writing things down is because if it's up here in the mind, it's actually in limbo. It's in nowhere. It's in the processing unit. But when you take the time to write things down with your magic wand, you're bringing non-matter to matter. And if you write all your dreams, your goals, and your ideas, then you could look at it and visually manifest it. That's another video. But basically, back to the right eye, right? The right eye is hardwired directly to the left side of the brain. And that means that if you got a strong right eye, that means very, very high levels of consciousness. You might be able to completely see the matrix. But that's at an extreme level of consciousness. But if you are hardwired directly like this, if you got a strong right eye, that basically means that you are more analytical in thought. You are more linear. So if the creative is more coyly and scattered in like a visual representation, the linear thought is a straight line. So if you were a linear thinker, you'd probably be a lot better at mathematics, science, things like that. You might have a job where you're a lawyer, a scientist, or a doctor. Things like where you really need extreme processing as opposed to extreme creativity. Now, hold up one second. You know, I get dry. My gets so dry. I'm drinking green, not green tea. Every morning I make myself a little ginger tea, put a little lime, a little lemon, and honey in it. It clears out the body, helps you lose weight, keeps you sharp. Highly suggested. Yeah, so back to the mind. All right, so Now, the whole point of getting both sides in unison and balance is once you have balance, then you could really activate your third eye. So a lot of people out here are very imbalanced. This is personally why I feel a lot of people can't see through the bull illusion of the CDC and all this other crazy shit that I'm not going to get into. But you know, I think you have an understanding of what I'm saying if you feel what I'm saying. But I got a bunch of stuff over here that will help you activate the mind, because there are certain things in this world, like I said before, GMO food, sugars, aspartame, which isn't even a sugar, Diet Coke, and all this other crazy shit, which is basically toxic, shuts down your third eye, which is basically just as important as your heart. So you can't shut down your heart, can you? So why the hell would you want to shut down your third eye? It's crazy. But you know, they got a whole bunch of fluoride in the water, which shuts down and deactivates the third eye. They got fluoride in your toothpaste. It's really crazy. But once again, you know what I'm saying. If you don't believe it, you do a little Google research, you'll find a lot of stuff. All right, so back to a couple things, right? So I take some supplements. You know, I don't take a lot of supplements, and some of these supplements I very rarely take, and I take when I'm feeling a little off. Maybe because, you know, it's really important to listen to the inner. And when you become more in tune with self, you can see when something's off. You know what I'm saying? And if you've done your research on minerals and certain things like this, you can easily know what to go to. That way you don't have to run to your doctor, which really they don't know what the fuck is going on half the time. And they're just being trained in a particular facet, when I personally believe in the next 5 or 10 years, music is going to be able to change everything. So if you got like a cancer or something, they'll probably just hit you with some frequencies, some beautiful vibrations. If you got cancer in the ass, they send some beautiful music to your ass, and boom, all of a sudden, gone. All right, so the first one, right? Zinc. Zinc is very, very good for the mind. We're going to go through these real quick. I'm not going to talk about a billion different things each one of these do. I'm just going to let you, as always, through my teachings and my videos, say things, and if you feel that you need to look into it, if you have an issue, or if you just want to gain the knowledge, I'm putting you on the path. All right. The next one is copper. Copper is highly suggested. Copper is very powerful. The next one, colloidal silver, extremely amazing. Now, something which I don't have, which I highly suggest if you're very sick, is colloidal platinum. Now, that's if you're extremely sick, get your hands on some colloidal platinum. Elderberry. Elderberry is an amazing root. Now, there's a million roots. I'm going to do another video about roots. I don't have a lot of roots. All the real good roots are very expensive. The next one is B12. Very good. This is really good. B12 really, really helps you activate the pineal gland. Spirulina. Spirulina is very, very good as well. And the last one that I have here is Chlorfresh, which is basically chlorophyll. And if you know anything about greens, because we should all be eating greens because that's light information, and all greens come up from the dirt, from the death, from nothing, through the amazing sun, which gives all life on the planet. But there's one more which is amazing, amazing for activating the pineal gland, which I don't have, and it's called Haritaki. So if you could grab yourself some Haritaki, look into that, highly suggested. I'm gonna keep this one short. I hope you thought this information was amazing. You know, if you found anything useful, and if I didn't really go too deep into it, you know, do your own research, because you yourself have a beautiful mind, and I believe and I love you. So check me out, like, share, and subscribe. AquaStoneThrone, AquaStoneThrone on IG, AquaStoneThrone on Spotify Music, Pandora, Apple Music, all that other good stuff. Share it, like, subscribe. I love you. Bam. Yeah.